Okay, we're back, and I've cut out my two fronts. And if you can just see on the corner of the screen here, I gave myself a little extra room on the side seam. I decided to give myself a little bit more extra room right in here. I'm not going to alter the sleeves at all. I'm just giving myself like a fat seam allowance. So will actually be my seam allowance, and the seam is here. I just want to give myself just that much more room because I don't have a full 5% stretch on this particular fabric. All right, I cut out my two fronts. I did a line down the wrong side of each front piece. And here's my neckline mark right here, right here, right here. I drew that on both on the wrong side. It will be difficult for you to see on the fabric. Oh, I have a pin in this one, but I have a line here, and then using a high contrast thread for me, stitched from my neck point here, straight down the middle of my medallion, from neck point to hem, straight down the middle of the medallion on both pieces. And because this is so fluid, I gave it a couple shots of spray starch to make it a little bit easier to handle during the medallion matching process. That acts more like a woven then rather than a knit. You don't give it a stiffener, it can be a little fussy. Okay, so now that I have a high contrast stitching here, I lay one front flat. Go ahead, try and say that 5 times real fast. One front flat from my neck point to my hem with wash away wonder tape. The single most fantastic sewing notion ever. Okay, I put the tape down. I folded my second front in half and gave it a bit of a press so I have a nice sharp crisp line there. It's nice and crisp fold, and give this a little bit of pressure and pull off my tape cover. Sometimes it works better than others. Give it a little pressure with your nail. Start from the other end. Of course, it's on tape, so it's not going to work. There we go. Pull off the cover. Wash away wonder tape is wonderful. It does completely wash away. It stabilizes your work as you work through steps on your project, and it's the single best thing for pattern matching. I love it. Okay, you're going to see the back of my head now for a little bit, so bear with me. I have a nice crisp edge. I have my match point right here. I've marked my outside with a pin. There's no marking on the outside, just basting. I go ahead. You're going to see the back of my head here, and right along my high contrast line of thread basting, I'm going to go ahead and match all my medallions, pressing into the wash away wonder tape. This will hold everything in place while I make my center front seam. I apologize for keep going on and off camera. I have moved the camera in so you have a little better view. I'm going to move over to the other side now. I'm going to double check my work. I'm going to double check my matching. This was a good choice, this fabric, because these medallions have a lot of diamond points on them. And I ran my high contrast stitching all the way down the middle, matching these little diamond points as I worked my way down. It was a good choice. It made for easy matching. Okay, I'm going to keep working down. That all looks pretty good. I have a pretty nice match. It's funny about the Presto. I wear a lot of Prestos to work, sometimes one day after another. And either my coworkers don't like me or they just simply, they never mention that why do I wear the same thing every day. It's because every fabric makes the Presto different. The style is the same, the fit is the same, it's just the fabric differs. Either my coworkers are not very observant, they don't care, or they don't like me. Anyways, back to matching. This looks pretty good. I'm having good luck here. I like the way it looks. It's laying nice and smooth. I'm going to try and turn it around for you so you get a better idea. That looks pretty nice. It's pretty difficult to see a seam in there. It looks a little bit like I have the headlight effect, but actually I don't. This medallion sits about right up here, up on my chest. I'll have these little curly cues right here, but you know, curly cues are bust enhancers, so those are okay. This looks pretty good. It was a pretty easy match. I stitched with a very loose and long stitch on my machine. I had to loosen my thread tension so that it didn't gather the fabric in. But I just gave myself a high contrast stitch down that center front mark from where my bust opening is, or my neck opening is here, and then pressed it flat. And like I said, I used a little starch. I gave it a couple shots and pressed it with a dry iron, no steam. And it made it just stiff enough to press an edge on one piece that I can then utilize to do my pattern matching. I recommend you do the same. Now, what I can do is I have my neck opening here marked to make the unique Presto neck opening. The wash away wonder tape is going to hold this in perfect alignment while I run my center front seam through the machine. Also at the same time, I'm going to do my neck edge here. My neck edge here. As you see, I have this lovely print right here that's going to end up about right here. And I'll be back. And we're back. We've sewn our double front together and along our neckline seam. And we've gone presto at the ironing board and created the unique Presto neckline. Let's do two things while we're here with Wanda the Wonder Model. I'm going to try and pan the camera so you can slowly see the medallion matching down the front. I think it came out pretty good. So bear with me. We're going to try and give this a shot down. We really got a nice match. Got a nice match here, especially in this front diamond medallion, which is going to be right here, as you can see. Here's the bust points right here. So I have medallions on my chest. I have curly cues above my bust point. Curly cues on your bust line are fine. It's just when you have the headlight look, which is down here. And then we have the medallion in the front. Let's see how far down we can go here. Looks pretty good match. It was a good choice of fabric, as I might have mentioned earlier, because I have lots of diamond points to match my work with as I worked my way down the front. That really helped a lot. Let's take a look, come back up and take a look at the back neck, and you'll see where that Greek key that you may have noticed on the fabric earlier, where it came out on the neckline. Let's get Wanda to do a 360 here. Look at that. Isn't that great? That's that back neckline seam. I'm going to show you that in a second. Hang on. Wanda's going to step out of the frame. Thank you, Wanda. So when you make your Presto and you have your double front matched, I'm going to go ahead and put this on the table now. And we're going to move the camera so you get a better idea. I hope that helps. When you cut your two fronts, one on top of the other, and sew down from your neck point that's marked on the pattern, down the center front to the hemline. You also sew across the back neck. You can use a straight stitch. You don't need to use a serger. You just definitely don't want to use a serger here. Just a simple straight stitch, or if you prefer, a light zigzag stitch is fine. Also for the neckline as well. These two seams don't stretch, so it isn't really necessary to use a specific stretch stitch. I just use a simple straight stitch on my machine, set at about, I don't know, about 3, I think. So, and then what happens, as in the instructions, it says to press open your back neck seam. Press open your back neck seam here, and then fold it over on top of itself, matching that seam. You see what I did there? I'll do it again. You have your double front. You've sewn down the front here. You've sewn your back neck piece. You've pressed open the seam along your back neck here. Press that open. Bring it over on top of itself. And presto. You have a Presto popover top.